Alright, good afternoon guys, or good morning rather. So this is the trade preview for December the 14th 2020 all the way through to the 19th of December 2020. This is probably going to be my last trading week before kind of taking a break for the new year. Pretty much probably going to focus on building a YouTube channel and actually building some kind of educational content. But yeah, let's kind of get straight into it. So as usual, what we'll do is we'll cover DXY and we'll also kind of cover yen as well, basically just to see how the big major indexes could potentially kind of move against it, or the big potential kind of currencies rather can potentially move against it. So starting off on DXY, if we start off on the monthly chart, we've got this pivot here, which we've essentially been kind of playing around with. Okay, so as you can see, the market has bounced off and it's kind of essentially just resting on it. Okay, on the monthly. We then go into the actual hourly, so DXY this is. On the daily rather. So as you can see, the market is just pivoting off and on this this pivot area. Okay. So when we go into the hourly chart, there's a few potential areas which I'm very interested in with regards to DXY. My opinion on DXY is that I do think we're probably just going to range for the rest of the year. But there's no, you can get anything with this market, so let's kind of see. There's two areas in which I'm looking at for a potential rally into for DXY. So you have, we could get a spike down on Monday into this and then back up into this, take out these highs and then back down to take out these flat lows, or we could consolidate in this area, take out these highs here and then into these lows. I still don't think, I think we may have seen a low in DXY, but I still want to see the market kind of take out these kind of flat lows here. So that's my view for DXY. So I'm essentially quite neutral on DXY, but I do think there are some kind of good areas, potential pivot points to potentially take kind of short and long entries. Okay, so we then go into Japanese yen futures. What we see on the weekly. So if you remember, I posted a video a couple of weeks ago, basically where I said there was this kind of big pivot area. So the more times you kind of touch resistance or support, the less that particular area becomes. And I think what we're trying to do here is slowly kind of grinding into that area. So I'm very bullish yen, and kind of to that end, I see this order block here acting as a potential support area. So I think we may get a spike down into this on Monday, retest, and then basically back up into here next week. So I'm very bullish yen. Okay, so let's kind of start getting straight into actual positions to take, right? So given DXY, what can we actually potentially kind of see on DXY in terms of potential positions to take for tomorrow, for this week, and then potential kind of areas to aim for GBP. All right, we've bounced off this pivot here. In fact, let me leave GBP. Let me go into Euro potentially. So for Euro, we had this high here, or this low here. Okay. Which we've taken, so we may see Euro go into this area here. To be honest with you, I see this order block here as a potential buy area. As you can see, this is support once, support twice. So I do see this area acting as a potential pivot, because obviously there's this order block here, and I do think we probably go higher for Euro USD next week, but let's kind of wait for that down candle before we kind of take any move. So that's Euro USD. So given that we actually think that dollar is going to be bullish for the start of the week, that gives us a good and then bearish for the latter part of the week. That gives us potential kind of entry points for the likes of Euro USD and GBP USD, etc. So let's kind of go into Euro GBP. Euro GBP is a really interesting one. I really like this trade actually. So if you look on the daily, okay, go on the 8-hourly chart, you can see it better. We've come off this major order block here, 8-hourly order block, as you can see, via this wick on Friday, and we've taken out these highs, yeah, these flat highs. Right, so we've run all the liquidity here, here, and here, right? As you can see, via this kind of big move up. Now that we've come into this big resistance area, so this supply zone, I do think we're probably gonna sell off in Euro GBP. Okay, and these are the potential kind of entry points or entry areas that I'm thinking for this particular pair in the first instance. So we've run up the highs, and now we're starting to develop value below a major swing point. Okay, when the market starts to develop value below a major swing point, or starts to develop value above a major swing low, normally, or swing high, doesn't really matter, normally that market wants to move in the opposite direction of the swing point, right? So continue on in the direction of the swing point. So say for example, this is a swing high, okay, as you can see, it's now got the value developing. So you know value is developing because you have the candlesticks that just essentially just range like that. So that's what the market has said it's a fair price. Okay, so when we see a move like that, what we're expecting is a consolidation, as we're kind of seeing here, a spike, and then a move down lower. And I think that's potentially kind of what we'll get on Euro USD, or Euro GBP rather. Okay, and with that kind of being said, what are the potential entry points for this particular trade? Well, if you look on the 15-minute chart, okay, this hourly chart is a supply zone, yeah, okay, an order block, yeah, and there are these stops here that haven't been tested yet. Okay, so what I'm expecting on Monday, maybe we may get a spike down into this, rally back up, and then into here. But I think here is where I'll be potentially looking for a sharp reaction for a bigger move down. Okay, so now that we've got that order block there as a potential reference point for a reaction, where could price potentially aim to? Okay, well, I do think, well, there's this inefficiency here, this market inefficiency. So basically the buyers, there were no buyers here, the market just kept going up and 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 up. So it wasn't like kind of steady buying, it was literally like a big stop run. So when there are inefficiencies in a market like this, or thin liquid prices, the market always kind of moves down to essentially fill in those voids. And I do think that's essentially what's going to happen here. So you've got that, and then you've also got these flat lows, right, from last week, which haven't actually been taken. And we always know that flat lows in the market don't really last long. So I do think what we'll see in Euro GBP next week is actually potentially a massive move. So I think what we'll do is maybe on Monday or Tuesday, we spiked into this area, we start developing value, start doing this, and then we essentially go and take out the flat lows here, right? So this is what I'm looking for on Euro GBP. So again, the reasons for this is we come off a resistance point, so as in a higher time frame supply zone, we're developing value below that zone, and we've also got this thin, these market voids that haven't actually been filled yet, and we've also got these flat lows. Okay, that gives me confidence on for my short move. So that's Euro GBP. USD CAD is another interesting one. So we've got these highs here. So as we know, resistance turns support and support turns resistance. So in this case, this was resistance. Hasn't obviously turned support yet. I think what we may potentially get is a spike down into this, rally back up, and then we take out these flat lows here, flat highs rather, on USD CAD. Okay. USD JPY is a bit of an interesting one. Not sure about this one, so I'll probably leave it. GBP JPY, I think that, as I said, I think there's going to be a strong move in GBP JPY. So I do think maybe we may get a potential rally back into this area here. So this area was actually an area of previous support. If you go on the 8-hourly chart, as you can see, support once, support twice, support 3 times. We also have this order block here. Okay, so I do think we'll probably rally back into this area, and then maybe potentially sell off. So basically something like this, consolidate, and then basically bang to take out these flat lows here. Okay, but let's see what will happen with that. I'm pretty confident that we will probably get that in GBP JPY. Or if we get it next week, I'm not entirely sure, but let's kind of see what happens. Euro GBP or Euro JPY, again, this looks like a really interesting one. So if you look on the 4-hourly chart, there's these order blocks here, right? Short-term order block. Go on to the hourly chart. You've got these highs here that have yet to be tested, and there are also these flat lows here. So I think we potentially get into this, and I actually think we break down into this, and then we basically rally much lower to take out potentially these flat stops here. So I think we do something like this, maybe potentially up into this, and then to take out these flat lows here. Be a very good breakout trade. So let's see what happens with that. And then GBP AUD, nothing. And then the last one I want to look at, or last few that I want to look at, kind of Euro NZ, not Euro NZD, so CAD JPY and NZD CAD. So NZD CAD, another interesting play. So we got this one on the down move. So we played this move here. We covered it in one of our videos or one of our charts we posted to take out these Monday lows, which we did, as you can see via this stop. But this move here really isn't a big enough wick down for me to suggest that this move up is actually genuine. So we've got high of the week here, and we've also got the high of I think this is probably about the 6th of December, or one of the 6th of December, basically the highs here. There's this resistance or selling climax that is obviously now potentially turned into resistance, or that can turn into resistance. So I think what we do is we get a spike down up into this area, a break back below, and then we go and we basically test this area again, because there's this thin move here, and we always know that thin moves do not last in Forex. So I do think we'll see a test of these lows once again, to the low of the last week. So selling climax, take out these short-term stops, spike down, develop value below, and then we sell off. And then last but not least, CAD JPY. Everything seems to be setting up for a strong yen this week. Okay, so on CAD JPY, what I'm looking for is, as you can see, there are these flat lows here. There are also these flat lows here. Okay, so what I'm seeing on this one is, if you go on to the weekly, okay, this selling climax or buying climax, as you can see, was resistance. We fell to close above, and now we started developing value below. So if you go on to the daily, okay, given all the confluence that we have already in the market with regards to certain positions, the first target we could aim for on CAD JPY is probably this one. So if we go on to the actual hourly chart, okay, that's the first target. So I think what we get is a spike on Monday into this area. So if you look on this area on the 15-minute chart, right, what you can see is that area is clearly like an area of support. Okay, broke down through and has yet to be tested for resistance. So I think what we do is we get a break into that area on the hourly, break into that area, test down, and then take out these flat stops, and then we maybe potentially go here. If we can break this area, so we do this, I think we then go to take out these flat stops here. But let's see. That's part of a wider kind of bigger move. So we'll have to see about that. But yeah, it looks like essentially, in a nutshell, a strong week for JPY, and basically a range this week for DXY. But let's kind of see what happens. Happy trading for this week.